Good day, boxing fans. Last weekend we saw Jesse Bam Rodriguez, the kingpin of a junior bantamweight division, put on an elite level stellar performance by destroying Fernando Martinez. But there is another man in the junior bantamweight division that is coming up, and that's of course South Africa's own Ricardo Malagika, and he will be defending his IBO belt against a hard-charging Filipino by the name of Vince Parras. If you're interested in breaking down that fight as well as the other fights on the card, then let's go. Vince Parras is 24-3-1, 24 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. He's got 18 knockouts in those 24 wins. He's a former world title challenger and he's never been knocked out. Once again, Ricardo Malagika is up against a tough opponent who must be taken seriously and who can potentially represent a banana skin. Malagika, for his part, is now 16-2, 16 wins, 2 defeats, and 12 knockouts, so he has also been able to crack. Now, who is Vince Parras? Vince Parras, back in 2018, challenged for the IBF World Minimum Weight or Mini Flyweight or Strawweight title, boxing's lowest weight division, whatever you call it, and he went the distance against Hiroto Kyoguchi. Against this very same Kyoguchi, he would fight again in 2024, and he scored an upset, winning a decision over Kyoguchi in South Korea. In the rematch, of course, Kyoguchi won on points and set the record straight. But we know Hiroto Kyoguchi. He took the ring and WBA World Junior Flyweight title from our own Heki Butler. He's a tough customer. He's someone to be reckoned with. And he couldn't take Vince Parras out, albeit that fight was at flyweight, but there's not a lot of difference between these lower weight divisions. He couldn't get Parras out of there. So Parras is tough. Now, style-wise, Vince Parras, He's solid but unspectacular. That's the phrase that comes to mind. He's sort of a steady pressure fighter. He keeps on coming forward. He's not a big jabber. He has a jab, but he often neglects it. And he comes forward and he throws hooks to the head and body. You know, he's not one of those guys that jumps like Melvin Jerusalem does. He's steady, does it. He keeps coming at you. He takes everything you can throw. Not very slick defensively wise. And he especially likes throwing a sort of a left uppercut, left hook to the body and coming over with a right hand like that. That's his money shot, but sometimes reverses the sequences and so on. And I think in the first fight, Kyoguchi lost that because he took his foot off the gas in the later rounds. And it seems like Parras gets stronger the later the fight gets. Now, what I've also noticed with Vince Parras, he's a bit of a sucker for a jab. Whether it's on purpose or whether it's just the way it is, I don't know. Whether it is that he's just not feeling his opponent's jab. But he doesn't slip that well. You know, Kyoguchi has a sort of a power jab, and when he used it, it was consistently hitting the face of Vince Parras. And Ricardo Malagika, as of late, he's been on a big winning streak, picking up that IBO title along the way, dropping down and winning another one of those belts at flyweight against the veteran Jackson Chauke. And in his last fight, he stopped Jason Mama, another fighter from the Philippines that's never been stopped before. So Ricardo Malagika is in fine form. He's highly ranked in the world by the Ring magazine. And he's going to be a hard guy to stop now. You know, if you're not named Bam Rodriguez or one of the other really big names at the top of the division, I think, you know, you're not going to be the favorite against Malagika the way his form book is looking right now. But, you know, every opponent has its different challenge. He has to stay motivated. He has to stay focused. You know, under Manny Fernandez, he's improved in leaps and bounds. So for Ricardo Malagika, he's going to have to be steady with a jab. The jab's going to be the key for Vince Parras, and don't present a stationary target. You know, Malagika is more on his feet than a guy like Kyoguchi. He's perhaps stronger, but flat on his feet. He plants his feet. So for Malagika, keep pumping that jab and keep moving. And also a thing that I've noticed with Vince Parras, when he throws, he leaves his hand out there a little bit too long. You know, he'll throw the hook and he'll leave it out there for a moment. He'll throw a combination and then his hands are here. The hands don't come straight back like that. He leaves himself open, and he's not a guy that dances out of a way where he can fight like Muhammad Ali. So for small spots, those hands are down before they come up again. So I think he'll be open for counter punches as well. Now, who's going to win? You guys must tell me in the comments below. Who do you think wins, and why do they win, and how do they win? For me, I think Ricardo Malagika wins this. I don't think there's a question about it in my mind. I think he is on a hot streak. He's a real world-class fighter now. And I think Vince Parras is going to struggle to catch up with him. Parras will have to win this fight by knockout, and he'll have to put pressure on Malagika. All good boxers, like the Ricardo Malagikas, they don't like constant pressure where they don't have a split second to execute their offense or the space to do it in. But I just think Vince Parras, he's not a swarming kind of guy. He's a steady pressure kind of guy. So I think he's going to battle, and he's going to have to hope that he lands something. So they will have to have that downstairs, upstairs right thing with Parras well-spec'd. And I think they will. They've been on their P's and Q's with Malagika can. So I don't see Vince Parras pulling off an upset. He's got the power to do so you can never write somebody off. But I think Ricardo Malagika is going to win it. The question is, once again, like with Jason Mama, is he going to be able to be the first one to stop his opponent? Now, I wonder, you know, Parras, he's won a couple of fights since his last loss to Ryoto Kawaguchi. But he's fought as low as mini flyweight in his career, which has been quite a long career, and timing counts for a lot in boxing when you fight somebody. So my gut just tells me Ricardo Malagika is once again going to become the first man to stop somebody. So I'm going for Ricardo Malagika here with a late TKO. I would say Malagika TKO 10. I think Vince Parras is tough. He's going to go some rounds and he's going to try, but I think Malagika is eventually going to overwhelm him with his speed and better footwork. Now, there are many other fights on that card. I'm going to be there, by the way, at Emperor's Palace. If you see me around, come and say hello. I'm not there this time to write a story for anybody or to do a ringside report. I'm just taking my old man, my dad, with me to the boxing, just for a father-son sort of things. I'm just there as a fan, so feel free to come and say hello, and we'll be a little bit more relaxed than usual. And there's a bumper undercard, and that's why I'm also taking the trouble to fly out and take my father with me to watch this one, because there's going to be a South African middleweight title fight between the champion Pikelelani Khumalo and a guy who's coming off a very good win, Don Juan van Heerden, or Didi, as some people say for short, for Southpaw. Now, who's going to win? It's also an intriguing fight, and I love it when you're not sure who's going to win. And the surest I am about a winner is in the Malagika fight. The rest of the fights, I really don't know. I think it all depends on which Didi van Heerden shows up. I've seen him at Emperors against, I think it was Namiso Ntuli, and it was a journeyman basically, and he looked very, very, very bad and dropped a lopsided decision. And then at the same Emperors, he fought a inexperienced and raw, but undefeated prospect, Dean Promnik here from Cape Town, and he put a beating on Promnik, eventually stopping him late. It was a very impressive performance. But you've got to keep in mind that Pikelelani Khumalo is the champion, is more seasoned than Dean Promnik, so he might swing a surprise. I think if Don Juan van Heerden is absolutely on his P's and Q's, and Pikelelani Khumalo has been stopped before, and if he's absolutely on his P's and Q's, I think that he can pull this off and maybe win this fight. I'm thinking sort of a late stoppage or decision. I would go for a decision to be safe. I'm thinking Van Heerden could pull this off and become a new champion. Then there's a sort of junior middleweight mini tournament like we had for the 4 at War a few years ago, and some of the same faces. We've got Shavante Koopman, who's fresh off losing in a challenge for the IBO title against Ismail Lima. He got stopped in that fight, so he has to redeem himself. He was climbing the ladder nicely. There were a few gaps where he had to get up from knockdowns and so on. but it came apart against Ismail Lima. And then on the other side, we've got Brandon Tyser, who's now the South African junior middleweight champion. The pair have met before. It was a very good fight. Tyser had Koopman in some trouble in the earlier rounds, had him looking wobbly, and Koopman came roaring back and stopped Brandon Tyser. So now we're fighting again. History dictates that the fighter who won the first fight on stoppage wins it quicker the second time around. But as I've said, Koopman is coming off a stoppage loss. Is something you'll have to deal with psychologically. Brandon Tyser is a real tough customer, as we've come to know him. Great body puncher, good with uppercuts and hooks at medium and inside range. In his last fight, Brandon Tyser won against his Namibian opponent, but it didn't look good to me. He looked sort of jaded and shop-worn. Maybe it's a career of many wars catching up to him, or maybe it was just the opponent. We don't know. So I honestly don't know who to go for in this fight. You know, it's a toss of a coin. It could be Brandon, it could be Koopman. It depends how Koopman handles the psychology of his last defeat. Tyser has been through those sorts of situations as well. He can handle it. But I'm going to go for Koopman to win on stoppage again, maybe TKO 8. So that's where I'm going, but it could go easily the other way. I'm interested in seeing that. Now, the winner of that fight will take on the winner of this fight, and that would be Roque Knapp, a very popular and exciting Roque Knapp, and he will be taking on Kagiso Bagwasi. Roque, in his last major fight, got stopped there in France against Bakary Samake. He's gotten back in the win column since, but he's facing a guy who hasn't had many fights, but is undefeated, Kagiso Bagwasi from Botswana. Now, Bagwasi has had a start-stop career, but he's got stoppage wins over Tsefiwa Munyai, the former South African lightweight champion, whom we all know. Munyai is a tough customer. You don't just go and stop him if you don't have something, you know, on him. And in his last fight, he stopped Boyd Allen, Bagwasi did. So Bagwasi can punch. He's an aggressive guy. He can punch. He's not nearly as experienced or seasoned as Roque Knapp. But as we know, Roque Knapp has been down several times. He's been stopped before, more than once. So, you know, there's a big danger sign here. You know, it's a dangerous fight for Roque Knapp to take. If he gets beaten here, you know, it's hard to see where his career will go. And for those of you guys who wonder what I've wondered in the beginning, what if Roque wins and what if Koopman wins? Will they fight each other in the final? They are no longer in the same camp. You know, Roque no longer trains with Vusi. They're in the Brian Mitchell camp. He is now overseas, based in London, and he's training over there. So if Koopman prevails and if Roque prevails, they can have that final, and what a fight that will be. But it's far from a given, because I don't know if Roque can still, well, we know he doesn't take a very good shot, right? And we know he likes to be aggressive because he can punch himself as well. He's more of an offensive fighter. He's not a stick and a move specialist. But he can box a bit, like he did in his rematch with Brandon Tyser, where he avenged one of his defeats. And if he does box, if he moves, if he jabs, if he keeps boxing in and out, he should be too experienced and seasoned for Bagwasi. But if Bagwasi can pin him, or if he can draw Roque Knapp into a brawl, you know, it's very conceivable that Roque might hurt Bagwasi and then go for it and then get knocked out himself. Kind of what happened in his IBO title fight against Garcia. And then, you know, I think it can go very badly wrong and Bagwasi can knock him out. You know, so I can see Kagiso Bagwasi springing yet another upset over South Africa and knocking out Roque Knapp. So it all depends where Roque's head is at and what his new coaching team can do with him. If he uses his jab, if he sticks in his moves, and if he uses his experience, he could win on points here against Bagwasi. But if he tries to go for it when he has Bagwasi looking in trouble, if he's too aggressive, he can come unstuck. So the question is, can Roque do a disciplined boxing first fight? I saw him do it many fights ago against Dante Jordan at the Palace, a Mexican guy who was not much in the way of skill, but was a big puncher. And if he can do this again against Bagwasi, I think he can win. That's a big if. It's a very intriguing fight. I think Roque has got so much more experience than Bagwasi. If he can stay away from a big punch, he can win this on points. So I'm going to go for Roque Knapp to win this fight on points. If you're a gambler, I would take a chance there and bet on Bagwasi for the knockout. Then there'll be a few other fights on the ball as well. We've got heavyweights. Everybody loves heavyweights. We've got Reinier Liebenberg steadily improving, Jean Alberts, and SA Amateur Heavyweight Champion making their debut. I'm not going to go into those fights. This video is getting long, but who doesn't like a big heavyweight roll? So I'm looking forward to a great fight, night of boxing there Saturday night at Emperor's Palace on the Golden Gloves card. As I've said, come say hello if you see me around. And until we meet each other again, remember to smash that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate that, and always keep your hands up.